Hey, what's up, guys? This is Eddy Miranda from Men's Physique News, and today we have a 4-year veteran pro with us. He is a two-time Olympian. His first time to the Olympia was in 2016 when he won the Toronto Pro. This year, he won it on getting qualification points. He actually placed in 3 of 6 shows this year. Let's welcome Jeph Gabriel. Hey, what's up, Jeph? How's everything doing, man?
Good, good. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. So, like what I said in the intro, you are a 4-year pro, but you went to the Olympia in 2016, winning the Toronto Pro. Now, we didn't get to interview you back then, but like, how was it you stepping on the stage for the first time as an Olympian?
It was an amazing experience. It was nothing short of expectations, and it was everything that I expected and more as far as the treatment of the athletes, the reception, and just the venue in itself. It's just for anyone that has not qualified to go to the Olympia, I suggest they just ask a couple of guys that's been to the Olympia and just ask them how the experience was, and that will just be added fuel so you can actually try to make it to the Olympia because the experience in itself is amazing.
Now, in 2017, you didn't qualify. I know that was a little bit of a rough year for you. But going into this year, you popped in. Your first show was Atlantic Coast, and you won that over Stephen Cow that just finished coming in 6th over at the Arnold. Now, you know, it was expected that he was to win, and you came in and won that show. How was your feeling knowing that he was the expected winner, that you're the one that came out on top?
Well, I know going into that show, I knew there was a couple of good guys going that would be competing at that show. So conditioning is always the key to any show. I don't care who's on stage. But not only that, I knew that I had to come in with some size as well. So getting that conditioning and size factor in together, I knew was going to be key. And while we're on stage with the first call out, so you can tell the difference in the conditioning as we're all holding our poses for much longer than anticipated. So um, I had a great feeling. Like I said, my prep going to that show was mainly condition based, but I knew that I would be in the top 3 once we had the first call outs and just seeing how everybody else was holding their poses on stage.
Now, you did 2 shows right afterwards. I'm going to go into Orlando. Now, you did do that show the year before and you got 3rd place. And this one, you did get the first call out, but you just were 1 place shy of even getting any points. How was it in your head knowing that you had gotten 3rd place at that show the year before, now stepping a little bit back?
I mean, that show was disappointing. I felt that my condition for that show was better than the Atlantic. But then again, I mean, it's to each his own. The judges were looking at different physiques. If you look at the guys that won, there were more smaller waist guys, and genetically speaking, God didn't give me the smallest waist on earth. So it just, like I said, it was disappointing. But I just kept my head up, and I looked at the other competitions that I had planned for, and just didn't let that deflect anything. Just kept my confidence up. But that show in itself, it was disappointing. But I kept it going and wanted to make the best of it.
And you went into Nebraska, and you actually placed second to Akeem Scott at that show because he did win that show. Now, going into it, going up against Akeem, how were your thoughts in that battle for first and second?
Going against Akeem was I welcome competition. I want to compete against the best of the best. Akeem came in with a great package. I personally felt that my posing and my condition again was better. But again, his stage presence was on point. I didn't look at the point difference as far as him being in first and me being in second. But I thought at that particular show, I brought probably my best package to date, next to the Pittsburgh Pro Show. But in Omaha, it was a good showing for me, and that's what gave me more momentum. And after that show, I knew I had a great chance to qualify for the 2018 Olympia.
Yeah. So what basically finally qualified you for the 2018 Olympia was the Chicago Pro. Now, you came in 5th place at that show. Now, even though you did get 5th place, walking out of that show knowing that you were pretty much solid in your qualification, how did you feel that you were basically going to the O at that point?
After that show, that show was stacked. It was one of the last couple of shows that would provide a lot of points for the top 5 placing. Once I knew what the point system was and my position was confirmed as far as getting 5th place, I knew anything else that I did as far as training, dieting, competing was all getting ready, geared up for the 2018 Olympia. So leaving that show, I felt confident. Again, I felt that my placing at that show could have been better. But again, it was a lot of that show had about 35 pros on stage. Yeah. And it was a tough show. But again, I mean, we can't sit there and talk about, I should have done this, should have done that. I was just grateful to get the points and solidify my placing for the Olympia.
Now, you also went into the Tampa Pro. Now, I know your mindset was like, okay, I just want to go in there just to get some more points. I just want to be secure in my qualification. Now,
right.
Now when you ended up getting, I believe, your 6th or 7th place at that show,
right.
like what was your thought? I'm like, okay, well, I'm still qualified. I came in through the skin of my teeth, with the points. How did you feel with that?
Doing the Tampa Pro, it was just, to be honest with you, more of an experimental process. I knew the Olympia was 6 weeks out. Doing that show would not hurt. It would only benefit me as far as seeing Steve, Weinberg, Gary, and some other of the other head judges. So I knew it was a good opportunity for me to stand in front of them one more time prior to the Olympia. So that show was, like I said, it was just one of those practice rehearsals, and as far as getting my mind ready for the Olympia. But there was some good guys on that stage. The placing, we all have our differences in opinion on that. But as far as how and why I did that show, like I said, it was mainly just to stand in front of those judges, and I knew that show would bring some of the top Olympia judges out there to judge the competitors.
Yeah. Now, you're 4 weeks out from the Olympia. I know last year, or I'm sorry, 2 years ago when you qualified for 2016, you did Toronto. I believe you stopped because you were already qualified. Yeah. So you had time to prep. Now you've been doing show after show after show, and now you only got 4 weeks. Now, what's your strategy now after doing, I would say, 6 or 7 shows this year, jumping into a 4-week prep, trying to get into the Olympia?
I mean, the strategy stays the same. Is just buckling down on the on the diet part, just ensuring that the conditioning is not taking any shortcuts. Some days you don't feel like doing that cardio after training, but it's key. It's just what you have to do. So keeping in mind that the main goal is the Olympia. I want to get that first call out or the top 10 in the Olympia. So keeping that in mind, the process remains the same. It's just staying focused and blocking out all kinds of any kind of distractions, and just staying focused on what the goal is. And I'm not one of those big guys like about the hoopla, getting to the whole drama of everything, but I just mind my business, do what I gotta do, train, and bring my best package.
And what are your plans for after the Olympia? I know some guys either want to take a break, or some guys just already want to be shooting for points for next year. Like, what are your thoughts about after the Olympia?
It's interesting. I haven't really put too much thought into it. I feel that once I'm closer to the Olympia, I may decide to do one more show. The Olympia will be my 7th show this year. The most shows I've ever done in any given calendar year has been 7. Anything after the Olympia would be my 8th show. So it just depends on how I feel physically. I'm thinking about doing an additional show over in the Cali area, but I haven't decided on that 100% yet, but it's something that I'm thinking about, and to be honest with you, I may end up doing one more show just to get some points going into 2019.
Cool, man. So, like, basically, you're just going to be calling it as it is when you get over there, and basically, see where you're going to be landing as far as going into the shows for next year.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I get a top 5 place in Olympia, it's just something to be extremely thankful and remarkable. But if that were to happen, I will guarantee that I'll shut it down. But anything other than that, there's a 50-50, or I'd say more than a 50-50 percentage that I would actually do one more show before I shut it down for 2019.
Cool, man. So, dude, I honestly would just want to, wish you the best of luck going on to that Olympia stage, man. I know how prep is, and I know what prep, especially with something this big, you have a lot riding on the line, man. So, again, wish you the best of luck on your prep. I wish you the best of luck on the Olympia stage, bro. I hope to see you in September, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you for everything, man. Truly appreciate your time.